Hello guys, this is Arpit Sharma from TelecomTalk, and today we are going to be talking about one of the fiercest wars in the mid-range smartphone segment, which is going on between the Vivo Z1 Pro and the Redmi Note 7 Pro. The phones that we are going to be talking about today are the Vivo Z1 Pro, which comes as part of the Vivo's new Z series, and the other one is the Redmi Note 7 Pro, which has been dominating the sub rupees 15,000 price range for a few months now. But now that both the phones are out, there is a need to compare these devices to see which one fares as a better device. When it comes to design, there is a clear verdict between the two phones, and it is that the Vivo Z1 Pro is the better looking of the two. The device is more likely to attract glances from the people around rather than the Redmi Note 7 Pro. Considering that the Vivo Z1 Pro features a plastic back whereas the Redmi Note 7 Pro is clad in glass, even then, the shiny gradient panel on the Vivo phone manages to reflect a lot of light, thus becoming the more attractive one. Also, on the display front, the Vivo Z1 Pro features a larger 6.53-inch display with full HD plus resolution, whereas in comparison, the Redmi Note 7 Pro features a 6.3-inch full HD plus display. The notch on the Vivo Z1 Pro is the punch hole style one, thus being slightly less intrusive as compared to the water drop notch on the Redmi Note 7 Pro. This also factors in while considering gaming on both these phones, as the Vivo Z1 Pro comes off as more suited one for gamers with its bigger display, less intrusive notch and better sound quality. What's more is that the Vivo Z1 Pro also bundles a pair of earphones in the retail box even when it's priced similar to the Redmi Note 7 Pro. The Redmi Note 7 Pro sports the Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 SoC, which is in reality better than the Snapdragon 710. The processor has proven to be faster and better. Also, it competes against the Qualcomm Snapdragon 712, which comes as part of the chipset in the Vivo Z1 Pro. It is also worth noting that the Vivo Z1 Pro was the official phone for the PUBG Mobile Club Open, thus proving itself when it comes to gaming and hence leaving no doubt in the minds of the users. When it comes to performance, both the phones compete head-on and there is little for us to differentiate between them. The two phones even have the same RAM and storage configuration variants. The two devices come in 4GB, 64GB, with 6GB, 64GB and 6GB, 128GB variants as well. Also, when it comes to the microSD card, the Vivo Z1 Pro and the Redmi Note 7 Pro both support 256GB of expandable storage. The only difference pops up when we look at the card slots, as the Redmi Note 7 Pro sports a hybrid card slot, whereas the Vivo Z1 Pro comes with a dedicated card slot, thus giving full freedom to the user in this regard. While the Vivo Z1 Pro sports 3 cameras as compared to the 2 sensors on the Redmi Note 7 Pro, this becomes the classic case of less is more. Out of the 2 sensors present on the Redmi Note 7 Pro, one of the sensors is the Sony IMX586 48 megapixel sensor, which is paired with a 5 megapixel depth sensor. In comparison, the Vivo Z1 Pro sports a 16 megapixel primary sensor with 8 megapixel and 2 megapixel secondary sensors. So when it comes to details and depth, the Redmi Note 7 Pro blows the Vivo phone out of the waters. However, it is also worth considering that the Vivo Z1 Pro replicates very natural colors, but then again, the clarity which Redmi Note 7 Pro delivers stands unmatchable here. One area where the Vivo Z1 Pro has the lead is selfies, as the phone sports a better 32 megapixel front shooter as compared to the 13 megapixel unit on the Redmi Note 7 Pro. Still, there is a thing to consider about the unrealistic colors, which is something we have seen previously on Vivo phones. Both of these phones come with some hefty software additions on top of the vanilla Android 9 Pie. While the Redmi Note 7 Pro sports the Xiaomi's custom MIUI, the Vivo Z1 Pro boots the FunTouch OS. Now, although both of these editions ship a lot of functionality to the phone, in an in-depth comparison, the MIUI seems to be better optimized. The interface and the overall experience of the MIUI is more conducive, intuitive, and despite the ads, it stands to stray ahead of FunTouch. In terms of battery, we have a clear winner, and it is the Vivo Z1 Pro with its 5000 mAh pack paired with an 18-watt charger which it ships in the retail box. On the other hand, the Redmi Note 7 Pro comes with a 4000 mAh battery and it comes with a 10-watt charger only. However, it is worth noting that both of these phones get through the day easily. Another thing worth noting is the Z1 Pro has a micro USB port, whereas the Xiaomi Redmi Note 7 Pro offers USB Type-C port. The last note being the base price of the Redmi Note 7 Pro is Rs 13,999, whereas the Vivo Z1 Pro starts retailing at Rs 14,990. The difference of approximately Rs 1000 is prevalent across all the variants, but when it comes to deciding between the two, there are minute differences which make these phones very competitive. With that being said, if design, bigger display and much more trendy design is a choice, then the Vivo Z1 Pro would be the much better choice. However, if it is about the camera and you would like to have a much better software experience, then the Redmi Note 7 Pro would win the battle. But if there is one thing that can be said with surety, is that both the phones are totally worth the buck and they won't disappoint the buyers. So go ahead and buy your choice right away.